I've been working a little bit on getting the hanger straightened up and ready to do the annual and engine change on it. I've got it pretty well shaped up, but I haven't been in too much of a hurry because I didn't know when that engine was going to get here. But I got word yesterday that the engine showed up at Seattle at the barge line, so it should be here next week. And now I got to call my mechanic and make arrangements for him to come down here from Anchorage, or find somebody to come down anyway to do the annual and the engine change. Meanwhile, still tinkering around with the hanger. I got Mark, a friend of my son's, who moved up here and is staying out here, to take off that old Tyvek off the one side of the hanger that's all ripped up and shredded up and stuff. We'll get new Tyvek on there so we can get those gaps in the siding closed up a little bit so the wind doesn't go through there so bad. The other thing that we've had is these big gaps up here where the rafters sit on the truss. Now, those were all pretty well closed up with the Tyvek, but of course that got wore out or rotted in that big windstorm we had last winter, tore those all up, so we got big gaps in there. I've got these styrofoam chunks here. They're 4 inches thick and 2 foot wide by 4 foot long. I'm going to cut those up into chunks to fill those cavities, those gaps up there in that roof. They were roofing panels off the high school gym. They were underneath other panels, and anyway, they got dirt in there from being years up there on the roof of the gym. I tried to get the pressure washer going so I could clean them up better, but I can't get the pressure washer started. Looks like the spark plug's bad on it, and I don't have wheels to go to town to get a new one today. So anyway, those are cleaned up okay, so I've got a setup over here. Put a couple of work tables out there, and I'll set those up on the work tables and start cutting those up. They have to be cut at a little bit of an angle because of course the roof has a pitch on it where it meets there, and I want them to slide into that pitch pretty good. So I've got 20 cavities up there. When I made that roof, instead of going on 2 foot centers or 24-inch centers, I went 24 inches between rafters just so that these things would fit up in there between them without having to trim these styrofoam sheets off. So basically the gap at the top on that face is 7 inches, and then of course it tapers back as it goes in. Each one of those panels is 48 inches long, so 7 times 7 is 49. Well, I can't quite get 7 of them out of each one of those panels, but if I make them just a little bit shorter, maybe 6.5 inches or something like that, they won't be flush then with the outside face of that truss up there, but they'll slide in that cavity and still fill it in. So then I should be able to get 7 of them out of each one of those, which if I need 20 of them, then 3 of those should work. So I was going to cut those with a circle saw, but I can't find my skill saws. I got too many people here using my tools, and nobody ever puts anything away or cleans anything up when they're done with them, so I can't find them. I was going to use the saw squatch. That thing will cut through 6 inches, so that'll cut through those okay. I've got it set up there right now with the angle put on it. So what I can do is set those on the table, line them up, and mark them, make 1 cut off of each end of them, and then I'll have to change the saw over to square, and I can make 2 cuts there, and so on and so forth down the line. I tried to mark those at 6.5 inches. My pencil wouldn't make a pencil mark on there, but it did make a groove on that. So I'll go ahead and see what I can do about cutting those off of there. Okay, that worked. Now I'll go up there and see if those will fit in the holes like they're intended to. Now, those didn't quite fit the way I'd hoped. 4 inches is actually thicker than that cavity is, deep a little bit. But when I push them in there, they run into the hurricane clips or the rafter ties that I used to put the rafters on there with. Now, I knew not all of those bays were exactly 24 inches. I know the ones on the end, on either end, are not 24 inches, and then there's the ones right in the middle are not exactly 24 inches because I run that extra tripled up 2x8 in there for a beam for hoisting on. But that one bay there, the second one that I tried to get that in, that one's 27 inches, so I'll have to cut a little chunk to fit in there. So the 6.5 inches fits in there. It's a little bit loose. I have to get some spray foam to stick in there to fill the gap, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. We'll try a couple more of them and see how they work. I got those cut and fitted in there. That blocks that off pretty good. Had to custom fit the ones on the end, of course, and then 2 right there dead center where the hoist goes. Those had to be fit in. And then I had one bay that was longer than the rest of them. I guess I had to do that to get it to fit the way I wanted it to get the spacing I wanted on there. But all the rest of them fit in there good. Mark got the old rotten Tyvek off of this side, so we can get new Tyvek on that, and that'll stop the wind from whistling through there. Then we got to do the other side still, but having that on the top there and this one side is going to make a big difference. I didn't get too early of a start today because it was pouring down rain most of the morning and into the early afternoon, but I went to town and got some spray-in foam. I usually use Great Stuff. That's worked pretty good for most things in the past, but the problem with Great Stuff is you put the nozzle in it and then you have to turn it upside down and spray it and hold the can upside down like that, and getting into those cracks where you're up against something above you, that doesn't work very well. Well, this stuff they had down there, it's a DAP Tex Plus. You spray it out the top. Well, I used one full can and part of another one, which is too bad. I couldn't make the one go quite far enough, but of course once you use this stuff then it dries up and then you can't use it again. Although maybe it'll just dry back here into this little applicator tip a little ways and I can cut it off and then use it then. We'll see how long it lasts like that. But anyway, I got all of those chunks of styrofoam glued in there and sealed in all the little gaps and stuff like that. I won't say it'll hold the heat in because there's still lots of gaps and stuff in that building, but that'll keep the wind from blowing in through those little gaps there. I called the mechanic today, Nikolai in Anchorage, and he's willing to come down again. He's busy with his own stuff, but he likes getting out of town once in a while and coming down and doing stuff. So he's going to come down to do the annual and help with the engine installation. But he can't get here till sometime mid-April, so we'll see how that goes. It gives me plenty of time to work on this hangar and get it sealed up better. So when I went to the hardware store, I got 3 new pieces of 8-inch galvanized stovepipe, so I can get that stovepipe replaced in there so we can get fire going in there in the hangar in the back corner. It won't do much good yet until we get it sealed up a little better. Even then it doesn't hardly warm that hangar up, but if we get that sealed up around there, that'll hold heat in there a little bit more and help dry it out in there a little bit. At least we don't have to shovel that roof off anymore. The snow level's down pretty low, just above where we're at here. We're a little over 100 feet, but we went to town and I could see snow on the flats and stuff above the narrows, so in some places it's lower than that. Temperature is about 40 degrees, so it's not real cold, but we could still get cold temperatures down to 20 degrees or so up until the end of April for sure, even into May. There have been plenty of times in May, April and May, where we've had lots of snow here. So get tired of the rain constantly, but at least we don't have to shovel it. And it's a beautiful day today. Crystal clear blue sky, a little breezy. Actually warmed up to 46, 47 degrees. This is the nicest day we've had in a long time. I mean, the last time it was clear blue sky like this, it was 0 or below. Well, I got my wife's car pulled out of the hole over there. It hasn't been out of the hole for several years, put away and forgotten about, so I dug it out of there. I could put it someplace else because I got to start filling in that area over there, hauling some rock back there and stuff. Also got to work on that side of the hangar to get it closed back in, put new Tyvek on there. It was raining pretty hard yesterday and all night. Put a heater in it so it could get it dried out inside, but it's nice today, so I got it sitting there with the doors open and let it air out. Get it dried out, and then she can get the mouse turds and stuff out of it. My wife's been out here cleaning up around her chicken house. I had currants planted there around the chicken house, and all the heavy snow we had last winter broke those all down, so she's cleaning that stuff up. Of course, the chickens are out having a ball out in the sunshine. They're feeling good, getting out and sunning themselves, even though there's still snow there in their open chicken yard. Snow is going fast, but right here behind the hangar where we've shoveled the roof off of the hangar, there's still a pretty good pile there. So that creek right there, that ditch as it goes down there, is about 5 foot deep, and that snow is still about 4 foot deep right there on top of the ground. So there's still a lot of snow here, but it's going anyway. A day like today with the sunshine the way it is makes the guy feel like he can do something anyway. It's a lot better than what it has been. So we'll see what we can get done. Well, Zen's been camping out in the basement the whole time for the last 3 months. It wasn't a long time you couldn't get him to go into a building or anything, but he's been staying pretty steady in there. I made him come out today so he could get out and get some sunshine, but he's acting like he wants to go back in the basement. We'll make him stay out here a little while in the sunshine. Sunshine's good for him. We had a couple of pretty nice days last week, able to get some straightening out done out here in the yard. My son went up there and put some more core seal on those 2 pads, or those 3 pads up there for the house extension. Those got dried out pretty good, so I put some bituthane on them, and that'll insulate between the steel and the wood. Hopefully keep the wood from rotting against the steel. It started raining again before we could do any more up there. So we got rid of that old car, that Ford Contour, a 95 Ford Contour. I give it away. Guy took it and got it running and is happy with it, so that was out of the way. I cleaned up that flatbed trailer that I'd made, and then I towed it down here to the highway, put a for sale sign on it, and let it sit there. Had a couple guys looking at it for tire kickers. Nothing serious yet. I'm not in a hurry to sell it. Don't owe anything on it, so I don't need to make payments on it or anything. Over there was where the Contour was. We got it out of there. I had logs over there last winter. We got those out of there last winter. I want to start dumping some rock over in there and extending that out. So we drug the Corvette out of there, my wife's car out of there, and got it dried out for a couple of days in the sunshine. I've got a heater in there now to try to keep it dried out, or get it dried out some more. Keep it covered up, keep the rain off of it. Wife has been cleaning up back there in her garden. I had to dig out a whole bunch of her currant bushes, because the snow smashed them all down over the winter and busted them all up. So she's been working on that, as well as cleaning out her chicken house. And then it started raining again. The last couple of days, it hasn't been raining quite so much. I got out and I was going to put the Tyvek up on that side of the hangar again. But then I got to looking, and over the years, the dirt and stuff had pushed up against the side of the building, was holding moisture up against it. So I started to dig that stuff out so I could get that dried out and get that Tyvek down farther. But there was so much root mass and whatnot in there that I couldn't dig it out by hand. So I got the little excavator out here and started cleaning that out. And then I got to thinking, well, I might as well make a drainage along that, because all that moisture, all that water from all this rain and everything hits up here on all this flat on that road, and it comes across, but we've got a culvert in across the ditch right there, but all that water comes right down that road, and it comes right down here, and then it goes right into the hangar, because the hangar is sitting where it's sitting is lower than the driveway is. A lot of that water just goes in there and keeps that sill plate there soaked. It's got that sitting on mud sills, actually just treated 2x6 laying on the ground. When I made the hangar, the ground was frozen so hard I couldn't just barely get it leveled out. I couldn't get it down any to get a footing under it or anything. So, and this side over here is quite a bit higher than that other side over there on that side. Almost 1.5 feet higher. The ground is, I should say, not the hangar. So anyway, water was running right in there into the hangar. It's puddling up right here in front of this door pretty good. So I went ahead and dug that out, and I've got some drain pipe there. I'm gonna lay out there and then get some drain rock and put in there. Try to divert that water away from the building so it stays drier in there and it doesn't get that sill so wet. Well, I got that done piecemeal the last couple of days between rain showers, but it's pouring down rain now and I don't feel like fighting it in the rain, so I'm gonna work inside now, and it looks like we're gonna have rain for the next few days. It's supposed to maybe clear up Monday, and my wife's got an order of feed coming in for her chickens that hopefully we'll get a clear day to get that stuff home and unloaded.